Well, I'm going to title this video Silver versus the Rothschild Bank's Life and Death Struggle. And of course, if you're on your toes, you realize that a lot of times when people make these kind of titles, it's just a freaking attention getter. And maybe it will be an attention getter, probably just knowing how the nature of people are. But let me just put it to you this way. I'm going to show you that I'm real in a lot of ways, that I'm a totally different animal than anybody else on YouTube by far. And my education levels are usually, I think, in probably at least the vast majority of instances, are far beyond anybody else that's talking on YouTube or even bothering to, because the money isn't there on YouTube unless you're sales pitching something else, which, that game is. I've been working for a CPA firm for a number of years now, and also I've been in Who's Who for Scholastic Achievement. I got 2 majors in accounting and math, and I've got many decades of experience. I'm much older than most people, even though I'm going to the gym 6 days a week. Okay, so I'm a health nut, whatever, fine. Anyway, but I don't like getting too formal on this crap, so I always like showing biker chicks, when I'm talking about finance. But we're going to be talking about some other things here too, and I'm going to get into these Rothschild banks, and I'm going to tell you a little more that I think it's ironclad that the Rothschilds are not Jewish. So don't go freaking slamming on Jews if you freaking get mad at the Rothschilds. Okay, that's one major point I want to get through too. This might be a freaking long video. I'm sorry if it is, but you're going to get a lot of information on it and on angles you don't normally get. Okay. Route 66, yeah, that's basically the road to whatever, with silver. Who the hell knows where it's going? But I can tell you one thing: if it goes too damn high, the whole economy collapsed. You don't want that to happen. Silver's a crazy animal. It's very hard to predict. I think since, the end of 2015, it's been on a bull run, even though it's retracted some and it's been going up and down. It's the bottom is already past us. It's past us. Jim Rogers turned out to be right. A long, complicated bottom. Yeah, and actually, when the gains happen, they're probably going to happen within 6 to 9 months, and with the most of the gains probably occurring at the very, very end, when everybody's going to be telling you to buy, which are the disinformation agents, as they did before. I think it's solidly going to go above 50. Okay, I've been saying this before. But, the deal is, if you're just concentrating on silver, you're screwed. And I noticed, sometimes I get crap from people sometimes. They're saying, well, silver's this, and you said this. I don't know exactly where silver's going. I'm just pointing out observations about, the MACDs, overall trends in the MACDs. I pointed out many years ago, or a few years ago, that basically it looks like a buy a couple years ago. Basically, and it turned out it even went lower for another year, but it would have been a buy just over a year ago. It would have been. Now, I'm actually almost as much into palladium as silver, and palladium, that's why I'm not really pissed off about anything, because I bought palladium at a couple $100 an ounce, or even lower, on a spot price. So I don't really care about that, but I'm not going to keep that forever. I think the silver I'll keep longer. And I've been talking about exchanging it for property. So one thing you want to look at, though, silver, one thing I could say about silver that's unique, where it's a unique animal, is that it's the only precious metal out there, or actually the only metal out there, that actually has serious health benefits. Colloidal silver. Now, when you're making the stuff with the batteries, the 3 9-volt batteries and a little resistor, and with a magnetic stirrer, and you're taking your time making it, you're actually getting a mixture of colloidal and ionic silver. Now, you probably need to put this on a separate video, what they do, but you're making pretty good stuff. It's not bad, and the problem is, if everybody really knew what that stuff really did, and it was advertised on, big marketing, TV and all this garbage, everybody would be buying at least a couple ounces of silver, and it wouldn't be enough to go around, and it would go right through the roof. But problem is, you don't want to give up your silver. You always need some silver for medicinal purposes only, right? Now, one of the problems we got with this silver community per se is a lot of them are jackets and ties and suits. Now, I've been wearing a suit since I was 14 years old, for crying out loud. At school, right? Even before that, practically. Went to some of the best schools back up in New Jersey, northeast New Jersey, near New York metropolitan area, in the New York metropolitan area. But I'm going to tell you right now that a lot of these people, and I just hate to say this, but they're flat out freaking BS. They're frauds on a YouTube. And I could tell you where I'm a little bit different. And it's like maybe it's a bad freaking way to put this out, because when you're knocking somebody and you're praising yourself, you're like, eh. But I'm going to tell you honestly, how many, I put some stuff out, and this is one thing that kind of bugs me. I put some stuff out about the Lakosky multi-wave oscillator. I think that device probably is the most important device, the electronic device in the history of mankind. And because it basically rejuvenates the body and it could probably extend the life of people decades and be young. Where is the attention on YouTube? Very little. Very little. What's the greatest fails with the weather girl or something, right? And I don't really blame that all on YouTube, but also blame it on what the YouTube's catering the audience to. What audience they're catering to, which is the giddy minds. I'm going to tell you one reason we're probably going to get into a major crash in the United States before I get into this Rothschild bank stuff. And I got to tell you something about the Rothschilds that you probably will not know from anybody else before we even get into that. But one of the reasons I think we're coming into a major crash is I think that if Trump stays in office and there's nothing that happens to him, I think there's going to be peace with Russia, which is what I want. I'm not exactly a fan of Vladimir Putin, but I'm okay. I'm really fine with the Russian people. Actually, I opened up an American-Russian survival channel, which has got some videos on it, and I need to do a lot more work on it, but some of the stuff on there is actually pretty helpful to a lot of ordinary Americans and Russians. And that's really the focus. I don't care about who's on the top, because I can tell you Putin is actually probably hooked in with the Rothschilds indirectly. Where he's got a problem with Western policy is he wants Russia's borders restored back to Eastern Europe. Okay? Now, I don't really dislike Putin so much as I dislike Hillary Clinton. Okay? And if I'm talking about some of the political things here, sorry. I'm just telling you some things that where I stand. And actually, anytime you're talking about finance, you're talking about political, because political governs economies, it governs warfare, it governs foreign policy, and guess what? A lot of that then comes upon you and the average person, how things are going economically and how it affects everything. It affects commodity prices, the global markets, and all that type of stuff. Now, one thing I've actually emphasized a lot on this channel, though, is a lot of how-to do stuff, which is very, very different from any other silver channel. I mean, some other silver channels might have some prepper stuff in there and stuff, but I don't think there's any channel on the whole entire YouTube that addresses such a wide variety of topics as my channel. That is one of the reasons I opened up that American-Russian survival channel, because I want to put some of the more prepper survival stuff on that versus mixing it in with the wide variety of topics I get in on the Synergy 7 channel. Like, this is my El Camino 1978, which I've had for freaking since 1991. So I've had it since 26, 7 years, whatever the hell it is. Here I'm pulling out, loaded down a freaking air compressor, right? I do stuff. But the thing is, I'm smart. My SATs were in the top 1%. 1%. Full scholastic achievement to college. 2 majors. 1 in accounting, 1 in mathematics. I worked for some of the biggest top people in Florida and also in Northeast New Jersey, which is the Stern family, if you know who they are. Before, I went into the Marine Corps for 13 years. But I don't stick just with bookworm crap. That's the difference. And I know I have pissed off a lot of people that are channels that are big, because I've advocated for the Confederate flag, and they don't want to put my videos on their channels anymore. I noticed this. Too politically incorrect. I'm going to tell you one thing, Tom. If you have a decision between buying an extra ounce of silver or a few extra ounces of silver and, say, somebody's cheap knives, well, you can get K-bars too or whatever, but even somebody's decent quality 440B stainless steel or AUS 6 or AUS 8 stainless steel knives, even if they're made in China or Pakistan, get the knives versus getting too much silver. Get heaters, get power tools, get axes. Don't freaking concentrate 110% on silver. People that are looking for an armchair investment, don't buy physical silver. Because you know what? You're going to wind up in the same boat as the rest of the people that look for armchair investments or going by the wayside. I'm not here for those type of people. As a matter of fact, some of the most politically incorrect things I put out here was hang the bitch, hill the beast. Custom bumper sticker. How many people did that? Nobody. So anyway, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Rothschilds here. And obviously this is not a Rothschild person. This is a true American woman with a knucklehead Harley with upswept side pipes, which is the kind of woman you want to freaking be dealing with. Now, this list is off the internet, which is... now, you got to remember something about the Rothschilds, because some of the names on some of the countries over here I'm going to point out are, you're going to say, the Rothschilds aren't involved in this. Well, I don't know all the details behind this list, okay? I don't know, but I could tell you, first off, that when New Jersey first was voting for Atlantic City gambling, they were like, they're afraid the mafia is going to get in there. Well, they got all these rules where the mafia couldn't get in there. Well, guess what? The mafia got in there through all these back doors. So, if this list may be looking inaccurate on the surface, and you're saying the Rothschilds aren't involved in this bank or that bank, whether it's New Zealand or Australia or whatever, I'm going to tell you right now, they probably got a backdoor way to get in there because even Iceland's on this list. Okay? Now, is this list accurate? I wouldn't know because, I would take probably a team of freaking highly skilled investigators to really verify this information. I also want to tell you that the Rothschilds probably aren't Jewish. Now, as we're going through this, I think they're likely not Jewish. Afghanistan, Bank of Afghanistan, right? Reserve Bank of Australia, Austrian National Bank, besides the Australian Bank, which is on the opposite side of the world. The People's Bank of China, and you also can see some of the symbology on their currency. Okay, Rothschild Bank, Bank of Finland and France. Okay, now I'm going to tell you also. Yeah, and here's another one: Central Bank of Islamic Republic of Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Korea, and Kuwait. Now, I'm going to tell you something also about the Rothschilds, why I don't think, well, I don't know how good this information is. I do know pretty damn solidly, it's been said in my family that from my mother's side, her grandfather, which is my great-grandfather, was the illegitimate son of Duke Albert Edward, who later became Edward VII. Of course, he's illegitimate. He was Catholic, so he didn't get a damn thing out of that deal, right? I thought maybe he did, but then I realized from further research he did not. But there's a lot of evidence to show that if the story's incorrect, at least he was told this by the family that adopted him, in which they were given money by the mother to take care of the kid. I think she was a high-end courtesan. That was the one that Duke Albert Edward got she made her pregnant, right? Now, Lord Greg Hallett says that he's a researcher on the British royal family, a fairly famous researcher on the British royal family's lineage. He says that the actual father of Duke Albert Edward is Lionel Nathan Rothschild. Well, when I did the DNA test on my mother, she only showed 2% Jewish. So, in other words, her great-grandfather would have been Lionel Nathan Rothschild, if Lord Hallett, Greg Hallett, is correct. And I'm showing 0% Jewish. So I don't know, but we're showing a lot. She's showing a lot of Eastern European, which I'm wondering, not. I mean, she's mainly Italian by far, but it's English, which would make sense with the Duke, and then Eastern European. It's mainly Italian and some English, but that would make sense with the Duke. Well, we obviously know her grandfather was definitely part English, but when I looked up a lot of different things and ordered records from England about when he was there in England, not even speaking English, and having children there to establish their birth in London and being married in London and going back to London in 1901, that when Queen Victoria died, because then Edward would have ascended the throne. I think the story is correct that his father is Edward, and Edward was known as the biggest, horniest prince ever in the British monarchy. But Lord Greg Hallett says Edward's father is Lionel Nathan Rothschild. Well, if all this is correct, and I'm looking at the DNA test from my mother with 2% Jewish, that means that Lionel Rothschild is not much Jewish. Not much. He doesn't have much Jewish in him. He may have a lot of Eastern European. So when you guys are all freaking getting all bent out of shape seeing something with Rothschild, don't associate it with Jewish people. Okay? That's my point. So here we got the Rothschild, Mexico, Bank of Mexico, Netherlands, Bank of Netherlands, Antilles, New Zealand, Bank of... I know people are going to say New Zealand is not owned by the Rothschild, but according to things on the internet, they got, and I believe they got back doors, just like the mafia has back doors to Atlantic City, despite all the best controls. Okay? Central Bank of Russia. You're going to say, screaming, it can't be the Central Bank of Russia. I can tell you one thing. Putin has oil trading companies in Switzerland that are registered in Cyprus. Why are they registered in Cyprus? Because Cyprus is a tax haven. He's dealing in on with the freaking banking system of the West. He doesn't want war for that reason, but he wants Russia's borders restored to where they were, because he's in his mind, and which may be true, the Western powers attacked Russia to weaken it, and I think the Western powers want to see Russia broken up. And he ain't going to go for that. That's why we might have conflict in the cards, unless Trump is allowed to stay in there. But I think there's a lot of forces out there, and to get rid of Trump one way or the other. I don't want this to happen. I'm not saying that as to be scary you with a giddy rumor, but if that happens, you're not only going to see silver go way up, you're going to see canned food go way up, you're going to see cigarettes go way up, and if you got a moonshine still and the government collapses, you're probably going to think that moonshine still is going to be the best investment going, because we're going to be in the worst of times. And because it's going to produce. I'll probably get one of those later. So, Bank of Ukraine, Central Bank of United Arab Emirates, Bank of England. The Bank of England. Now, one thing also I'm going to tell you about the British royal family, where they might be linked to the Rothschilds, according to what Lord Greg Hallett says, which would mean, more than likely, I got lineage to a Rothschild, which, whatever. I got Confederate lineage, too. I got 1% Mali African black, too. So, whatever. I got a lot of different stuff. But the thing is, whatever. Mixture. I don't have any Asian. But the thing is that, when you look at what happened to all the royal families in Europe that were very powerful at the end of the 19th century, in the late 1800s, after World War I, all of them lost their power, except for, guess what? The British Crown. The British Crown has gotten more powerful. And even after World War II, the remnants of all the royal families in Europe lost more of their power. What's the one that was left? The British royal family, right? Maybe they really are connected to the Rothschilds, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think the Rothschilds are Jewish in any way. So don't go getting bent out of shape about Jewish people, because that's usually the knee-jerk reaction. Um, the Fed and the IRS, these are basically, I don't know, they're private organizations. The IRS actually is not even controlled by the United States. It's an international, or it's a foreign private corporation of the International Monetary Fund. It's an international, um, basically, corporation. They call it the private army of the Federal Reserve. Now, one of the things you can do, I'm going to tell you some other things besides silver. And actually, you're supposed to fill out a form if you do this. Um, a lot of times, Amazon. I don't like buying from Amazon, but now at all, because they stopped the sales of the Confederate flag and all that garbage. But when you buy on Amazon now, they got it where sales tax is added to your order, right? And what I do is I order from places that don't add sales taxes. I'm thinking, I don't even want to give money to the government that's local. Screw them. I do this on eBay too. I don't think, I watch, and really what you're supposed to do is fill out a form at the end of the year and pay that whatever the hell it is. So I think everybody doesn't do that though. But I'm kind of pissed off the government in general. I'm going to tell you something else. I just put this out on my American Russian Survival channel. Mini crossbow. I don't know what it costs. $39, $49 or some crap. That might be a very good investment. If you are thinking about the world's coming to an end or something, which I don't think. I think there's going to be tumultuous times. And actually, if you look back during all throughout the ages, a lot of these Christian yo-yos were saying that the world was coming to an end in 1000 A.D. Yeah, also at the time of Augustus Romulus, the last Roman emperor, in 465 A.D. There was 10. The empire was divided into 10 parts, like the Visigoths, the Gauls, whatever. I don't know, different tribes. That was the end times. Yeah, whatever, man. We're probably coming up to a cycle of bad times, which, if you're smart, you're not going to have a problem. You're not going to have a problem. Who is going to have a problem is mainly the younger generations. Now, the older generations are going to have a problem because of health if they're getting old. Now, if you're an older person and you're very vibrant, like me, who works out every day practically, and you feel really good, you're probably not going to have a problem because you have the knowledge of how to do all these things that the millennials don't know. Now, I also want to state that our armies and Navy and Air Force and Marine Corps are mainly composed of millennials. I do not think that the average American today has the inner toughness of the average Russian by any stretch of the imagination. Not that the average American can't obtain that toughness and get it back, but they might not get it back quick enough. They're like very dependent upon technology. So one thing I'm thinking about is if something happens to Trump, which I know the alternative media is going to go, well, we might be on a collision course with Russia, and even a minor collision with Russia or China could bring down our electronic economy and banking system inside of no time. Now, I just put this video out about I might want to. I'm looking for property up in Tennessee, right, in the mountains, which, also want cell phone access, internet access. I want public electricity. So not necessarily 100% survival, but semi-survival. Because where I am, when I first got here, it was very much survival, more so. Now it's like freaking halfway city, for crying out loud, and I don't like it. But I got to be very careful about making this move. So, but I want to tell you that survivalists are people that don't just invest only in silver. Now, to tell you a little bit why I think silver's going up a lot is because, first off, I think we already hit the bottom in late 2015. There's been a long-term bull trend since 2016. The MACD said there would be a buy around 2014, they were starting to indicate a buy, a general long-term buy at 2014, which it actually went down even past that prediction, after that prediction. But the other thing is the PE ratios in the stocks suck, which is the price earnings ratios. We had every time we've been on a long bull term market like this, stocks have never been so pricey as except maybe in the 1920s as they are today. This is the second longest bull run of the stock market in U.S. history. I mean, it's not doom and gloom, but I'm just telling you it's cycle. It's cycle. Now, what else would they would love to do to freaking throw mud at Trump is have the stock market crash and commodity prices go up. I also mentioned this on several other videos, but it's very, very, very important. You know that Saudi Arabia is basically the kingpin of the OPEC oil, OPEC nations that really control the price of oil. OPEC was formed to keep the price of oil high. Now, recently, they increased production massively, and I don't think it was just to target the U.S. shale oil industry. They increased production massively in the last several years to crush Russia economically, which was working, but not as good as the West wants. Because I think Saudi is basically, a puppet state of the United States, right? Now, within the last couple months, I think it was the last couple months, 2 or 3 months, Saudi and Russia have agreed to cut oil production, which means oil prices have to go up. They will go up. You're not going to see silver go up by itself. I mean, silver doesn't run exactly in perfect unison with like zinc, lead, copper, aluminum, cadmium, and palladium, platinum, and gold in oil. But when oil goes up a real lot, you'll see everything that's a commodity go up a lot. And if silver and oil have a close correlation when oil goes up a real lot. Now, since Trump also has a policy of going after radical Islam, that means conflict in the Middle East. Conflict in the Middle East almost always means massive increases of oil prices. Combine that with the cutting agreement to cut production between Russia and Saudi. So you got Saudi and the OPEC nations cutting production. The one guy that was really big, that's as big as Saudi, sometimes they're a little ahead of them, sometimes they're a little behind them, is Russia. Now that Russia's cutting oil production, it's going to raise the price. We're not going to run out of oil. We're going to have plenty of oil. I'm just saying price is going up because that is a controlled market. You're also going to see the food prices go up, not only because of the coming mini ice age, severe mini ice age, but also because the cost of energy is going up because the ones that control the cost of energy are causing it to be more expensive. It is a rigged market. As a matter of fact, since the year 2000, there have been ongoing, since 2000, right, for the last 17 years, there's been ongoing lawsuits, especially against the rigging of the oil market, even by the former head of the NYMEX, New York Mercantile Exchange, and they've been failing and getting headway through this, which means it's not only the oil markets, but it's all the markets. People want to sit on their lounge chair and just think, I want silver to go up, make a lot of money, and freaking sit on my ass and order a bunch of electronic entertainment crap. Well, you guys, you sunk anyway, and I'm not catering to that type of audience. I noticed that many times, since I have actually advocated for the Confederacy and the cause of 1861 being more righteous and true against centralized control and excessive taxation, which you're fed up with, as being more righteous and true than 1776. I noticed certain people that used to carry my videos don't carry them anymore. When I'm like thinking, good, I don't give a damn. But I'm emphasizing to you, I'm real. Unlike the other ones. and I do have a lot more experience in this garbage. Now, as far as am I just going to be able to tell you what the price of this is going to be and that? Now, I said that I said before silver was going to be around 20 bucks at the end of the year and oil was going to be around 50. Well, the 50 on the oil was right. I think silver's going to catch up to that, though, the 20 easily. I think that by the end of this first quarter, which is freaking 2 months away, oil is going to be in the 60s and silver is going to be in the low 20s or 24, something like that. Maybe, maybe not. But you got to remember, silver's a crazy animal. If oil keeps creeping up, all of a sudden silver's going to hit it like it's going to just start getting rocket legs. Usually that's the way it works. They don't run in unison. They run in unison pretty tight when oil goes up like a freaking rocket. But if oil's creeping up, usually silver it lags behind it. Then it starts going in spurts. You're going to see this happening. This was actually a headline from the 1929 stock market crash. We might see a headline like this coming up in the USA. Not that I'm being negative, but we have had the second longest bull run in stock market history in the USA is now. The second longest ever. And underlying economy sucks, okay? You can look at, the Baltic Dry Index was really crappy several months ago, the worst it's ever been. Also, I talked about, the railroad traffic, which is the movement of goods. Going on in the United States was bad. They were laying off railroad conductors. Those are better indicators than what the false statistics are that are coming out from the government. The heartbeat of America is weak. Actually, this is a video I was doing on the Spooky 2 Rife machine showing a particular type of wave. But, like I said, I do a lot of different types of subjects on this channel, and there's a reason for it. Because the world does not revolve around silver. The world does not revolve around money. And just remember that. What the world revolves around is liberty or death, don't tread on me. That's the spirit of my channel. And that's why I don't sit here with a jacket and tie and talk cute and use $500 words and just kind of convince you that I'm the god of gods or some crap like that and tell you all about the greatest conspiracies. That's for giddy minds. Who the hell cares about that crap? I'm really a hands-on guy. Gorilla tape and an S-wing rigger's hatchet. You know what I'm saying? But I do know my stuff. I do know my stuff. Like I said, I was top 1% of my SATs, full scholarship to college. I had 2 majors in math, 1 in math and 1 in accounting. I worked for some of the most heavy hitters and as their right-hand man in accounting finance, including a former Russian colonel, which that was pretty interesting. Come out of the Marine Corps and I worked for a freaking former Russian colonel, man. Is that a lie? No, that's true. That's true. I don't want to say his name. He's all right. He's got a big head like Bullwinkle, though. I can tell you that right now. But I can tell you, people like me and others on YouTube that criticize this witch, I got a feeling I know, I don't know about so much on YouTube, but on Facebook, Twitter, and all the other bullshit freaking social media out there, maybe YouTube's got the most freedom. Right now it looks that way. But all these other BS freaking social media ones out there, the ones that really made her lose this election, which she was the puppet of the freaking big money behind the scenes. Oh, they're just nailing them left and right. I don't think they're really helping me too, so I don't know. But as it is, just you got to remember that the people behind the scenes, they never sleep. There's no doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And I also want to tell you about this guy, AJ. The greatest lies contain 90% truth. That's about right, because actually this guy puts out a lot of pretty good stuff, but he puts it out in a way that scares the crap out of people, gets them emotional, keeps them so much on edge. And if you need to buy health things, because I know he advertises for his crap, I'm going to tell you, I go to Puritan's Pride, Vitacost, or I buy this from this place, Bulk, Rhino, supplements, Rhino. I think it's Rhino something. I forgot what it was. bulk, very cheap. Um, I go to little guys like on eBay or anybody that sells a Confederate flag. If they're selling Confederate flags and knives like Bud K, I'll buy from those guys. I'm going to tell you right now, if something happens to Trump, and I already know that most of the people that were, I think pretty much everybody that was in the major media that was really critical of Hillary Clinton, I mean the major alternative media that was really critical of Hillary Clinton or the Clintons, they're dead. You know about that body count. This guy, nothing's going to happen to this guy. Nothing. Although, he tells you some stuff is okay. But I ain't in their camp, man. I'm going to tell you, though, that people that are going to survive are going to be like these two women over here. They got their own single-cylinder freaking trike with pulling a trailer. They put it together themselves. And, they can go cross-country where they want with all their supplies, and they got their safari hat. People that sit on their lounge chair and they want to click on an investment and get something, they're not going to do it. That's why on this channel I don't always put out silver videos. Actually, the minority of my videos, I'm being consistent on putting out silver videos over the years, but most of my videos aren't about silver. But I put my channel as silver and health. I guess there's a lot of health videos, and actually health is actually more important than wealth. You wouldn't want to be in George Soros' shoes or David Rockefeller or Warren Buffett. They're crusty old nasty people, You want to ride free like this dude over here with all this crap on his bike, with and the hell with the bullshit. That's really what it is. As far as like where I think silver is going to, I think, well, one thing in the back of my mind is bugging me is the message of Fatima back in October 13th, 1917. I know those people don't believe in that, but she said that Mary appeared to the kids and the 50,000 people, whatever, saw the miracle of the sun in Portugal, Fatima, Portugal. She said that Russia was going to be the instrument that would chastise mankind for its sins. Probably, there's a lot more to that message, and I actually put it out on our videos, but I don't think anything's going to happen as long as Trump's alive. I don't know. I don't want to say this as being like doom and gloom or scare people or anything, but I mean, there's a lot of money people out there that were betting on a TPP. A lot of people out there are betting on Obamacare or Hillary Care or whatever you want to call it, which was total control of the U.S. population. There's a lot of people betting on NAFTA. Big money. And he's unraveling all that stuff. There's a lot of people on there wanting to destroy our borders and weaken the United States from within and basically dissolve it as a nation by bringing in so many immigrants that are, the opposite of what the United States traditions and norms are about, that, to meld this into a global government, that, he's going against all those policies. And obviously right now he's legit because he's hammering back everything within the first week of his presidency by executive order. He's undoing what Obama's done over 8 years, and he's doing it fast. But, I just hope he's okay, man. I really do. But in the meantime, there's nothing we could do about, personally protecting Donald Trump. We can only hope that he's going to be okay. We know he's legit. But, in the meantime, we just got to kind of lay back and stay chill and not get emotionally involved in the giddy rumors, which is being pushed by the major alternative media. The major alternative media is basically controlled by the money powers. That's my opinion on that. And a lot of the lesser alternative media follows the major alternative media. Now, I'm going to tell you, originally when I first got on this YouTube, I was kind of following some of the major alternative media. I've gotten away from that completely. I've gotten away from that completely some years ago. And I don't bother with any of their crap in the least. And but like I said, if you got money to invest in silver, fine. But if you have no tools and you don't have emergency food and you don't have water purification methods, which I have videos on, and you don't have ways, alternate methods of heating your house or producing electricity with a portable generator, you might want to invest in those things first. Because the sky does fall, you'll be looking at this silver and you're like, how do I chop down this tree for firewood with this silver? I mean, you definitely want some silver. I'd say you definitely want maybe 100 ounces at a minimum, okay? Because first off, the medicinal purposes are probably going to be using several of those ounces up. And once people realize it's got medicinal purposes, you can charge them whatever the hell you want, no matter what the spot price is. You could sell this colloidal silver for crying out loud. But if you got 1,000, 2,000 ounces or whatever the hell it is, and you want to add another 100 ounces and you don't have a generator, I'm going to tell you, buy a generator. And if you're just going to be buying 10 ounces with a couple $100, you might be buying, I'd say buy some Est-Wing axes if you don't have axes. Buy yourself some tools, even if they're from Harbor Freight and they're Chinese or Stanley Chinese Walmart tools. Get that. If you don't have any. I mean, I buy USA mainly, but I don't buy all USA because I realize there's a reason why you want to buy some Chinese that is like decent quality. Because what I think is going to happen with the dollar is the dollar is going to lose maybe 40% of its value against the Chinese yuan. That's not saying maybe half its value against the Chinese yuan. That's not saying it's going to lose half its value across all the currencies in the world. But I think the Chinese yuan is going to get a lot stronger, and I'm going to tell you why. Policies of Trump, which I'm fine with, he's going to stop a lot of the trade imbalance from China. The only reason China has pegged its currency artificially low to the dollar is so they can export to the United States. The European Union is their big market, and the United States. If the United States stops doesn't want to have as much goods come from China, and they want to raise tariffs, and some of the European countries start following the Trump policy, what's going to happen is that China's going to have zero incentive to keep its currency artificially pegged low to the dollar. Now, you could see this even happen with the Japanese yen under Reagan. Is that not deja vu? Remember what happened under Reagan? I think the yen was 260 yen to the dollar, right? And then they let the currency, because it was pegged to the dollar. Then they let the currency float. Inside of no time, it went to 120 something to the dollar. So the dollar to the yen, the dollar didn't lose half its value in the world, but Japanese goods, but the dollar to the yen lost half its value. The dollar lost half its value that way. I think this is going to be a repeat because there's a lot of similarities between this Trump administration and the Reagan administration. Now, I think the major difference is that under Reagan was the guy that brought down the oil prices, and the Soviet Union collapsed. Russia's not going to collapse under Vladimir Putin. I almost guarantee you that. I mean, I'm not like a Putin worshiper, but it's not going to collapse under Putin. I think the difference is USA is the turn to collapse, and they're going to they're going to point the blame at Trump, even though this was decades of crap that's been the problem for many years. Credit expansion, not only in the government, where we're at $20 trillion of debt plus unfunded liabilities, not only with the the trade imbalances with other countries, and this bitch would have freaking made it worse, which I don't give a damn about her, but also personal credit and credit expansion that's been going on since the 1950s has been fueling the U.S. economy, with real estate prices going up since the 1950s, which is the major driving force of the economy. 50% of the U.S. economy, and you're going to argue with me, but I'm telling you, it's 101. It's taught in every real estate school there is, and I went to all of them too. And I'm not a realtor. I'm an accountant. I took courses in real estate and insurance, and I got licenses in that crap, but they're expired, and I don't bother with them anymore. But just for accounting reasons. But 50% of the economy in the United States is related to real estate and its corollary industries. Doesn't necessarily mean the subcontractors. It could be legal. It could be the taxation-based, the impact fees, everything else that it's feeding. So that actually, those assets have been backing the creditary expansion. You see, one can snowball the other. That is why when we, in 2007 and 2008, when we had the real estate crash after a tremendous boom, that was felt so bad, and we have not really recovered from that. Now we're seeing some upticks in real estate prices again, but I don't think they're going to last. That's one reason I'm kind of putting off on this land in Tennessee, because I think the prices are going to drop some more. I'm a cheap shit, man. I mean, if I get something $5,000 less, why not? Why wait? I'm not freaking moving right now. Some people give me shit about that. I'm not moving right now anyway. I'm not moving up there maybe permanent anyway. I'm going to be a dual citizen of Tennessee and Florida, right? Still in the Confederate States of America. I don't give a damn. One's on the northern border and one's the southern part of the Confederacy, you know? It's probably what I'm going to be doing. I'm not stupid, though. I mean, to me, $5,000 or even $3,000 is $3,000. I don't give a shit. If I get this crap $5,000 less, great. Good. Thank you. Okay? So, anyway, just want to tell you again. And also, if you're a silver, I don't even know what the hell videos I got in here, but I got some gems. And you might want to do a search on my channel for any word. And because you're probably going to pop up some freaking videos on it, because I got so many subjects on my channel, I probably should have 20 channels open. But I decided not to do that, and I finally opened up one other channel called the American Russian Survival. I think it's got 30 videos on it. And I'd say more than half the videos are actually some pretty damn good information. I'm not sure. It depends on what you're looking for. Just to kind of freaking separate the vast variety of subjects I put on this channel. And I just want to tell you again that, people that talk about silver, and they're talking about the end times, they're talking about, the death of the dollar, they're talking about the collapse of the U.S. government. Well, they're facetious as all hell when they're talking to you in a jacket and a tie, and they're giving you all these statistics. They ought to be, if they really believed all that shit, they ought to be out there freaking, digging a bunker, for crying out loud, and having emergency fire pits and smoking, sausage meat or some shit in a cellar or some crap, and having greenhouses and filtered water, and you know what I'm saying, right? They don't really believe this crap. You know what I'm saying? They're marketers for the silver sellers. That's what they are. That's all they are. I don't have any connection to any of these freaking silver coin dealers or nothing like that. So as we're traveling down Route 66 here, waiting for silver to freaking explode in price, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I'm going to wait for the very top. I'm going to go for real assets, because the only way you get the money at the very, very top, assuming all the financial structures are still in place and the banking system didn't collapse and all this kind of crap, is you're going to get it electronically. Physically, a lot of these coin dealers, like say silver exploded to $80 an ounce or some crap, right? A lot of these coin dealers are probably not going to want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? They're probably not going to want to give you that kind of money if it went up 50% in value real fast at the end there or something inside of a month, because they're realizing it's dangerous for them to hold that money at that price, to hold that silver at that price. I'd rather exchange it for some other real hard asset. And if you're self-productive and you have everything you need, that's the name of the game. But what I really want to emphasize, though, is rather than putting all your money in the bank, because I think this stuff about the Rothschild banks is correct. They got one way or another, they're in the door. And also, people that are in these banking systems, in these financial, jobs that are connected to these corollary industries that are connected to the, financial system, whatever you want to call it. It's not like the Rothschilds themselves have done all this. It's a lot of people. It's all the suits. That's why I don't really trust a suit telling me about silver. A suit that doesn't want to get their hands dirty telling me about silver. But I will tell you that oil will have to go very high before silver gets very high. Look at all the way back. That's always been that way. It's always been that way. Silver hit the biggest heights when oil was really high. We got a lot of freaking things in place that's going to happen. One is they're cutting production between both OPEC and Russia. Number two, Trump is going after the radical Islamic elements and going to crush them, which means conflict in the Middle East. Conflict in the Middle East brings up oil prices. So there could be a major spike in oil, which will bring a spike in silver, but also gold, palladium, platinum, zinc, lead, copper, cadmium, you name it, and food prices. And, of course, even oil prices, because everything is manufactured with energy and everything is transported with trucks, trucks and railroad cars that use energy. So one thing is good to have is a motorcycle. Because if you have a motorcycle and you have a rubber hose and you got a pair of vice grips that breaks those those locking gas caps with real easy, you can go up to the nearest BMW, Mercedes, put that hose down there, fill up your gas tank, and you're gone. You know what I mean? And you only need a couple gallons to go 100 miles, right? Anyway, over and out. I'm just joking about that, but it's one thing we always said about motorcycles. And that's one thing that's you're always going to have to get around, like old girl here. So, she'd get around no problem because she's got the legs and the body, skinny body, whatever she's got there. But that's what counts, man. You got to be independent all the way. And remember, I think the Rothschilds do have a back door in all these banks that supposedly aren't connected to the Rothschilds, but the Rothschilds aren't Jewish. I don't know what the hell they are. They're Eastern European. I don't think they're Jewish at all. And I'm not 100% sure about my lineage. I'm not sure about this Greg Hallett guy who says I'm more sure about my great-grandfather being the illegitimate son of Duke Albert Edward than I am of this Greg Hallett's claims about Duke Albert Edward's father being Nathan Lionel Rothschild. I'm not sure about that, but he's sure of it, so I don't know if that's true. But I looked into that. Maybe he's right. But if my mom's DNA is 2% Jewish, she should have had more Jewish than that, and I don't even show any. So, but then I think the Rothschilds, they intermarried with English people and European people a lot over the years. So I don't think they have very much Jewish blood at all. My mom does have a lot of English. She's got, 15% English. She's got mostly Italian by far, but she's got 15% English. So, it really does confirm that at least the grandfather was English, part English. But that's really what has, I can't DNA test the freaking royal family, man. I did the best I could, but it's just telling me that if all that's true, and it might be true, the Rothschilds are not Jewish. So, you people out there that automatically say the Rothschilds, and you get anti-Semitism on the brain there, you're not thinking straight because it's not the same thing. Okay? Just want to leave you with that thought. Over and out. Have a nice day. And go do some stuff. I'm going to be working on my Harley right now. Maybe I'll have a video on it. It'll be nighttime when I'm working on it.